Привет, дорогие друзья! Вы на канале Джорис и Джейк ТВ Дог. С вами, как всегда, я, Джейк. Мы с вами продолжаем прохождение Stories Patch of Destenies. Так, как я помню, мы будем сейчас брать Иблис, ядро камня. Неборезно. И идем на аванпост, а тут уже в горы.
Ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late.
А там реально кто-то был?
Sorry, mustache, thought Renato.
Это я сделал с помощью мышки, кстати. Не понимаю, зачем мне так далеко идти, если
There
просто
had to
могу
be
эту
some
дверь
way
открыть и все.
to use the Iblis stone.
Тут, конечно, такое особо сильно не
It was
прокатит
old,
фокус
wasn't it?
с открытием дверью.
People are so much
сразу.
cleverer now. And Renato was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people. The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders. It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. It was the stone, eager, thirsty. Kill the Emperor's daughter. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him. Why not capture the core of Sky Ripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. It's the core, said the stone anxiously. Death carries you the power But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it. The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he... The moment he landed the Farfarer, Renato had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sail for Zenobia's island. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Sword Fu school together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one. That she was the Emperor's daughter. No. Kill Zenobia. There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. "You're weak," whispered the stone. "The core will kill you." "Are you afraid of it?" "No, don't be ridiculous." It chuckled. But it's unstable. It'll poison you if somebody just carry it, and then if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically. Renato did not trust rocks that talked in his head. He went onwards. As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible. It was time to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he? As the Farfarer...
Да не шибко. Не мудрый, как и я.
The Nexus was infested with ravens, but that didn't bother Renato. With each death, the converted Iblis stone in his gauntlets glowed brighter, and he felt stronger. Wow. He was getting a bit bloodthirsty, wasn't he? Well, he wasn't worried. He was a warrior. They're supposed to be bloodthirsty.
Haven't you heard? Goth is over.
The core, absorbed in the stone, was doing its job perfectly. Renato could feel a little eldritch jolt every time he downed a raven, but then it flowed into the glowing stone the way water flows down a riverbed. It all felt perfectly natural, as if all his life, this was what he had been meant to do. Renato tore through the last remaining guards at the outpost like hot coffee through snow. There was a far speaker toad here. He called the council speaker. He knew she would be thrilled. And she was. She wanted him to come back to base. They had plans to discuss, and a medal to give him. A large, golden medal. Great, said Renato. Let's talk about who else I can kill. Then the far speaker croaked again.
Hello, Renato.
He said.
If you get sick of slaughtering second-rate birds in the Nexus, I'm waiting for you in the mountains.
Zenobia. She missed him. She loved him. Once she saw how awesome he'd become, maybe she'd join him. They'd kiss and... Well, if she did refuse for some reason, he was no match for him now. Zenobia was taunting him. No doubt she hoped to lure him into a trap, but it didn't matter, did it? He could fight his way out of any trap. He was invincible. This was gonna be fun. So where was this ambush? Renato couldn't wait. At Sword Fu school, she'd always studied a little harder, practiced a little longer, complained really a lot less. And then she'd become a sorceress. He'd always known he'd have to take her by surprise or not at all. But this would be a surprise indeed.
Какого черта вы? Да, блин, Поттер.
Already, Renato knew more than he ever had. But about what?
Ничего себе прыжки устраиваем. Уровень 37. Интересно, сколько здесь уровней
The
вообще?
mountain paths were infested with ravens. That was swell. Every time he cut one down, the stone glowed a little brighter. In fact, everything glowed a little brighter. Look how white the snow was, and how very blue the raven blood was. Seriously, where was she? He wanted to try his new strength against hers.
что я знаю еще одну классную игрушку, которая немножко отличается от этой, но мне она понравилась тем, что там вот не только для меня был интересный сюжет.
He'd found a source of great power. But instead of joining with the rebels, he was on a fool's errand the Emperor's daughter had sent him on. The rebels were preparing a last-ditch attack against the Imperial fleet, counting on Renato to show up in time. Would he be too late?
Вот, типа, с кристаллами там, с камнями падающими. Очень интересно. И сюжет тоже немножко, как по мне, интересно. И хоть игра проходится очень быстро, но мне очень она понравилась. Было классно в нее играть. Так, в общем, еще качать силы, захвата, защита. Это что было? О, Zenobia.
At the end of the path was Zenobia. I thought you were going to ambush me, he said, a little put out. I owe you better than that.
I know how you feel about me, love. You want to join up with me, don't you? You got to admit, we'd make a great team. Of all the arrogant, ham-handed, half-assed, half-witted... Oh, come on. What else you here for?
That, she said, as a dropship poured a bucket of green liquid on his head. Drowsy gas. You can't stop me with drowsy gas, Zenobia. My power's too strong. Zenobia? Where was she?
When he awoke, he was staring up at the sky. Zenobia looked down at him, frowning.
I probably ought to kill you, but that'd be a bit tawdry, wouldn't it? She was tossing the glowing stone from paw to paw. This is pretty.
Zenobia!
He shouted, and then he fell back into sleep. On the Farfarer, Renato drank his favorite headache remedy. But it did no good. Zenobia had beaten him again. Oh, he really should have listened to the Iblistone in the first place instead of messing around with the core. He had a bad feeling about the upcoming fight. But what kind of hero misses the final battle?
Может, у нас дофигища концов, где ты почти таки проигрываешь ее каждый раз.
Renato was bruised and tired. He wasn't looking forward to killing ravens. Didn't even seem scary. It felt like a chore, like sweeping the practice room at Swordfu School, which he'd done his best to leave for Zenobia whenever he could. What would she do with the glowing Iblistone? That should terrify him, shouldn't it? But he just felt dull and stupid as he carved his way towards probable doom.
Так, у нас вроде это последняя концовка такая вот история, и потом остается финал.
The back door to the portal that went to the center of the fleet.
И потом остается финал, который, я не знаю, сколько финалов может быть на несколько серий, может только на одну или две, потому что в финале тоже есть выборы. В этих выборах тоже надо делать решения. Короче, я не знаю, сколько это тоже может затянуться. Но, надеюсь, не слишком много.
It was all so unfair. He'd wanted to protect himself, protect the world from the Iblestone's hunger for blood and souls. And all he'd done is get mugged. Next time he owned a supernatural artifact that wanted tribute, he'd serve it champagne and caviar.
Что это сейчас было такое? Серьезно, что это сейчас было? Ай, не успел заметить. Даже не знаю, в эту игру и на чем сложнее играть, на джойстике или на мышке с клавиатурой. Хотя на джойстике, наверное, это будет труднее, чем на мышке. Все же потому, что контратаку-то у меня и атака одна кнопка, а на джойстике, ну, тоже одна кнопка, просто чтобы ловить их этим, это сложнее, просто очень сложно. Чуть просто порту.
Zenobia was cleaning blood off her sword and weeping. It's so hungry. I can't stop killing, she said. But I fed it the core of the Sky Ripper, and now he's hungry again. She wept. It was true. The Iblistone was black again, a void that seemed to suck all the light out of the sky. Take it from me, Renato, while you still can. Okay. I'll take it, he said. Yes, he thought. This is what it means to be a hero. To save the soul of even his old enemy when it looked like all was lost. He stepped forward to accept the sword from her outstretched hand. She flipped the sword, and the blade went into his gut. As the Iblistone sucked his soul into its infinite darkness, he could vaguely hear a voice, something like Zenobia's chuckle. Sucker. Oh, again? But he already had all the secrets he needed. He was sure of that. He must have not used them the right way. Ah, what was the best, worst mistake he could make? Probably trusting that traitor Lapino.
Так, лес, который был ограблен, и что мы герой, который сражается до конца, даже когда он оскорблен. Вот мы получили сами ачивку за то, что я открыл все эти концовки. Сколько? 29-30 видео по всем вот этим. Получается, нет. 24, ну 24 истории. Некоторые из них были разделены на 2 видео. Ну, где-то... 29 видео вообще вот этого всего вышло у нас. Этих историй. И остается только еще несколько, наверное, 4 или чуть больше видео по истине. Вот эта, которая открыта. Но она будет уже потом. Она будет потом. Но здесь я с вами прощаюсь, дорогие друзья. Надеюсь, с вами... Нет, по-другому. Не забываем подписаться, нажать колокольчик, поставить лайк, написать комментарий. Я надеюсь, вы отлично проводите сейчас осень. Возможно, уже август кончается. Или только начинается его середина. То есть не август, а октябрь. Сейчас октябрь. Не август, простите, октябрь. Потому что это уже октябрь. Наверное, он уже кончается, пока выходит это видео. Ну а я с вами прощаюсь. Всем удачи, пока и хорошего вам настроения.